Coming to you from the HagmannReport.com studio, located in the Keystone State, birthplace of a mighty nation, it's your host, Doug Hagmann.
Welcome to Hagmann for the weekend. Part one, this is part two of a kind of a two-part series, a part and a half, I guess. The reason being, of course, there's just so much to talk about after this week's midterm elections. My goodness. If you go back last week to the program with Steve, he lays it out. He laid it out pretty well that, red wave, and even if it's not really mattered that much, and here it is, sure enough. But in addition to that, there's also something else. Now, I want to bring this up right up front here. There's also something else that Steve laid out, and this has been over time, and that's the transhumanism and the genetic corruption and destruction of the human race. Well, what are these doctors speaking about here of late with respect to the insecticide, the shots, and the bioweapons and all of this? Just exactly that. The fact that, hey, we've never seen anything like this before, which leads me to this, what's coming in December, Lies of Men and Gods. Now, for that, I'm going to kick it over to Steve. What you see on your screen, if you're watching this on Rumble or Brighteon, is exactly that, the front of Lies of Men and Gods. Okay, I'm telling you right now, this is an extension of what Steve has done, and with every single extension, there has been more exposure. Steve, if you want to address the lies of men and gods and the extension of the genetic corruption and destruction of the human race that we're seeing right now, go right ahead.
Well, first of all, the end result is the genocide of humanity. It was initiated in the Garden of Eden. It was followed through in the 6th chapter of Genesis before Noah's flood and after Noah's flood. There were giants in those days and after those days. The word Nephilim is only used 2 times in Scripture. After that, it's the Rephaim. But the Nephilim meant the giants or those who descend, from heaven. So and I want to make this clear, Doug, when we did our fundraiser, God bless each and every one of you that joined in.
Yes.
Because that's what funds Doug's platform and funds our expedition. That was not a documentary film. That was basically a presentation of a 240-page PDF and hours of interview with both the only guy that's ever come forward that's been in the Smithsonian to see the actual Egyptian artifacts found in the United States of America, actual giant bones, and as he said on Doug's show, which he never told me before, that the actual heads of the creatures that the Egyptian gods show in their hieroglyphics. Now, that was a false deception. The Vatican's duplicity on this issue is progressively changing. They're attempting to reshape the world's perspective of aliens into them being our superiors, both technologically and morally. Well, they got a real moral dilemma because the aliens followed the fallen angels, and they kind of like those earth women. They certainly wanted to use them as incubators at a certain time period in history to produce an alien hybrid race, what some people call the black-eyed children or black-hearted politicians. But when we talk about the genetic manipulation of the human race, we have on film 2 gentlemen. One of them is an Italian billionaire industrialist who is a personal friend of Zacharias Sitchin. Personal friend. We also have Leo Zagami, who you've seen on Alex Jones, and this interview was taking place, I think, 3 years ago. Just a very small part of it is in the Unholy See. But the part that isn't the Unholy See will really help you to see when he who proposed the Annunaki, those from whom heaven came, the Annunaki, Actually, I call it the Annunaki, but that's okay. Nookie means a desire to have relations with human women. The point is, Zachariah Sitchin's best friend, the billionaire industrialist, said, Zachariah Sitchin told me that Lucifer is the head of the Anunnaki. Now, Doug, by that name, that there's so many UFOs that fill the field of view that they have to wait sometimes up to an hour for it to clear. You can look up the Lucifer telescope, and Lucifer is an acronym. It's one of the only 2 infrared telescopes in the world with the capabilities that it has. The Pope even visited separately. How do I know that? Because, in essence, ladies and gentlemen, somebody who listens to the Hagmann show called me. He sent me an email. Yeah, he sent me an email, and then somebody else called me and said, do you know who was here? I said, I have no idea. The Pope, secretly. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you understand that to them who believe Lucifer is God, who've taken blood oaths, who sacrifice, yes, they do sacrifice innocent children, and some of the most horrific and gorific means gore beyond horrific, ceremonies to use innocent blood to invoke Lucifer's favor. What people have got to do, Doug, in my opinion,
that's not necessary.
they
I don't
absolutely have to grow up in God if they claim to be Him. It doesn't mean you have to know the gorific or the horrific.
You know, if you really want
And Eric,
to,
you bring it back one more time. This
There are some alternatives you can propose.
DVD we're putting out will show you the supernatural nature of the UFOs. And by the way, in our world, they're IFOs, identified flying objects. It's Bravo Sierra to say that they don't know who's flying them or what's flying them. We have the evidence. We establish providence, actually provenance, and by providence, we were able to get the provenance. And this stuff was dug up in real time. We produced the evidence on our fundraiser. For those of you who got the 240-page report from the Hagmann fundraiser, it's still available, by the way.
Absolutely. You can still register, folks. Go ahead.
There's nothing like it in the world. Even the pentagramites won't give that kind of information. Even there are 4-star generals that don't have that information, although they call the return of the fallen angels, the gods of the Sumerians are returning. Obviously, the Anunnaki. Scroll down so I can read the last part of the back cover of the DVD, please. Okay, let's see. I'll just go to the lies of men and gods, burrow deep into the veiled reality of the evil, which Satan would rather remain hidden until it was too late. Gen 6 production blows the lid off a supernatural conspiracy that is thousands of years in the making, is nearing in its culmination. By the end of this duplicitous trail, we will be told that these aliens are in fact our creators. This, too, is a lie. With never-seen-before footage of evidence that points to the genetic corruption of humans, this film endeavors to give you the unfiltered truth about who and what is really controlling our planet. The lies of men and gods may well be the last opportunity to expose an evil that waits for our doorstep. And to answer that question, where that statement came, is God said, Steve, tell my people there will be a short period of time where they will hear the truth. And that truth will be presented to them. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to do this. Look, I'm not saying this. I'm just telling you this. Somebody, oh, you're just trying to sell your DVD. This DVD is really critical, you guys. And yes, I am trying to sell it. But what I want people to understand is when Jesus said the night comes when no man can work, he's not kidding. And I would encourage all of you to absolutely go back to the Hagmann fundraiser, which you can sign up for right now, and get it. And by the way, if I have to explain the cover, you don't get it. That evil-looking angel with one eye. Look at all the movie stars that always cover one eye. that was designed that way. By the way, Darren Geisinger did a knock it out of the ballpark job, in my opinion.
I was going to ask you, or I was kind of wondering if you were going to address that, because I thought that was a fabulous subliminal kind of light thing. But go ahead.
Right, and if you notice, the sun's behind him in the lightning. I saw Satan fall like lightning, quoting Jesus on the book of Isaiah. Go down a little more, if you would. Thank you, Ert. Notice the strands of DNA. The one on the right is human. The one on the left is fallen angel. That's called the xenogenesis strand, the name of